Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back. The official note says this update fixes a problem where ongoing dispatch missions could be canceled under certain conditions. And when that happened, the resources and contribution you spent to start them were not being restored properly. The team also says that the contribution affected by that issue will be restored in the next patch, so that part is already being addressed on top of the immediate fix. On top of that, they also fixed another problem where pets could not be summoned under certain conditions, which is the kind of thing that sounds minor until you are actually in the middle of playing and your usual setup just stops working the way it should. So this is not one of those giant feature-packed updates. It is more of a focused cleanup pass, but it still touches two things that matter a lot to regular play: mission progression and pet functionality. What makes this hotfix interesting is that it lands after a much bigger patch, and the timing tells you the devs are clearly trying to keep the game stable while they build out the newer systems. In the previous update, the game added bigger content changes like rematch and reblockade, plus new collectible pets and creatures. So this newer note feels like the team stepping in to smooth out the rough edges that showed up right after that broader content push. That is pretty normal for a live game, but it is still worth calling out because it gives you a sense of the rhythm here. Big content first, then a quick response when a couple of systems need tightening up. In other words, this hotfix is not trying to reinvent anything. It is trying to stop annoying bugs from interrupting the experience people are already having. Now, the official note also lays out a long list of known issues. And honestly, that part matters just as much because it tells players exactly what is still being watched. One of the biggest ones is that ongoing dispatch missions can still be canceled under certain circumstances, and the resources and contributions spent to start them are not restored, which matches the issue they say they are fixing here. So that is clearly a priority area. They also point out several graphics and driver-related problems. Frame drops can happen when using DLSS frame generation on NVIDIA driver 59636. The Cuckoo Pack may not work under certain conditions. And on Intel Arc A770 GPUs, the game can sometimes crash when using XeSS. There is also a display issue where enabling Intel XeSS 3.0 or Intel XeSS frame generation on Intel Arc A series cards can make the screen render incorrectly. And on NVIDIA GTX 1060 cards, turning on FSR upscaling together with frame generation can make the screen go white. Those are the kinds of hardware-specific issues that can really matter depending on what you are playing on, so it is good that they are being called out clearly in the notice. The list keeps going, and it gets into quest flow, character behavior, and platform-specific trouble too. The note says there is an issue during the Deferred Advance quest where retrying or abandoning the ultimate weapon fight when Black Star's health is depleted can cause Black Star's health to not fully recover. It also says some quests do not automatically track the next objective, and that Grey Main faction quests cannot be progressed while playing as Damian or Unka. There is a pet-related issue where the last unsummoned pet does not appear at Grey Main camp, and another troll issue where the evasion control option set to hold still lets the default evasion key work even after the key binding has been changed. They also mention a shield-related bug for Damian, where if she dies immediately after using shield toss, she can no longer use her shield or related skills, though saving and reloading can resolve that one. On keyboard and mouse, switching between weapon and armor tabs in quick slot equipment is blocked when an interactable object is nearby, and NPCs required for quest progression cannot ride together on legendary animal mounts. There is also a Mac-specific colorblind filter issue, a PlayStation virtual keyboard freeze that can happen if characters are entered too quickly while naming a pet or horse, and a housing mode position bug when the game resolution is lower than the monitor's resolution. And the hardware and platform notes keep stacking up, which makes it pretty clear this patch cycle is still in that tighten everything up stage. The team says there is a launch problem on ROG Xbox Ally X when running the latest driver version, and until that is sorted, they recommend using the previous driver version instead. They also call out an issue where the game screen does not display properly on Intel Arc A series GPUs when Intel XeSS 3.0 or Intel XeSS frame generation is enabled. And on top of that, there is a separate rendering problem in rainy environments when using FSR4 upscaling, where the rain can disappear or the screen can become blurry or distorted. Add in the note about abnormal player character state changes under specific conditions, and you can see the overall picture pretty clearly. This is a hotfix that is trying to stop progression hiccups, hardware compatibility headaches, and input or visual bugs from piling up while the broader content updates settle in. So, if you are making a video on this, the clean takeaway is simple. This update is a small but important stability pass. It repairs pet summoning and dispatch mission behavior, and it also leaves players with a very transparent list of what the team is still actively tracking right now.